Good morning, everybody. So, Ma to Mom is back again. I hope you have been waiting for us to come back with something really, really useful for you. Today, we have something that actually concerns all of us mothers at all ages. Whether our child is small or our children have grown up, whether they are adults or teenagers or babies, this is one topic that we are always going to be concerned about, right? What is that child eating? And are we eating healthy enough so that the child also gets the nutrition that they need to in case of small children? Or are we eating healthy enough that we are setting a good example for them? So, you know what? So, today we have somebody very special who's going to come and join us and talk about this. Um, Her name is Sonali Sachdev. She's from this organization called Shyft, and she's a clinical nutritionist. So she has the best possible advice to give us. Let's get her on screen. She loves talking to people, so please keep asking questions. She's very happy to answer them. And let's get her on right away. Hi, Sonali.
Hi, Nita. Good morning. Really,
Good morning.
a very good morning to everybody who's joined us today.
Good morning to you too, Sonali. And we are so excited to have you here today because all of us moms always want to know what we should eat and what we should feed our children. So before we start though, the first thing I think all moms here will want to know is what is shift?
Absolutely. So, first of all, it's a pleasure being here with all of you and bringing to you this platform, where I would love to hear more and more questions and have more and more of your queries resolved. So, taking it forward, I'd like to first introduce what Shift exactly is, right? So, Shift is a digital health business, right, which brings all health concerns to one platform. So it's all your well-being, anything that you want or is related to your well-being is all here on this one app. So here, whether you want to understand about your health, what's good for you, there are there's a lot of information out here which clears various myths that maybe shrouding your mind. You've got information from so many sources, but you still are confused at the end of the day, right? So if you want to know what exactly technically based, research based information, you get the knowledge here at Shift, right? You can all get all your health vitals put together on this one app, so you can track this as well. This particular company is also focused with various plans directed to various kinds of ailments, not only hormone related like thyroid, PCOS. We also have plans for people with diabetes, hypertension, and very similar medical conditions too. Apart from this, we cater to a lot of clients who are prenatal, postnatal. So for the confusions that are there, we have yoga classes. We have support with our coaches, with our nutritionists. So you have all that information all here on this one app. So I guess actually downloading it may give you a lot of information and a lot of confidence to move ahead.
That is really wonderful. Yes, I have downloaded the app, and today I actually took the time to go through it before I got onto this live, and I
Wow.
realized there is so much. There is so much
Yes,
that is
yes,
there on the app, and it is all very, very useful.
yes,
Apart from the usual health trackers, there is so much more available. It's not the run of the mill health trackers that are available everywhere. There's so much more available. There's nutrition, there's classes, and then there is also the community that you have put in there where you can meet up with other people, you can chat with them, you can maybe make buddies over there. So I think wonderful that is.
yeah.
Lovely
And
app, and
not
I
to
think
miss,
it's really
Nita,
worth. Hmm.
sorry I interrupted, but we have some amazing recipes also, which are
Huh.
accessible, and a lot which is related to the medical conditions or the status that you are in currently. So it's very easy to go out there and just pick up a recipe which suits you. It's not something that is
Wonderful.
common for everybody. So I think there's a lot that you can explore there.
Lovely, lovely. And so, that makes it so simple. When there are recipes there, it's like right at your fingertips. You can just get on with it. You don't have to think about, okay, what do I do? How do I do it? You don't even have to think about it. It's right there. So I think it's really worth downloading this app, everybody. Go ahead and do it right away. There is also a link in the comments. As you can see, there's a link in the comments. Use that. You can avail 1 month of free yoga classes through that link. So please, everybody, just go on and download the app.
Perfect.
And so now we can get on with asking Sonali our questions. So
Sure.
Sonali, what do you think? So let's start with mothers who are yet to be mothers. Let's start from step one, right?
Absolutely.
Mothers who are yet to be mothers, what is the best diet for them? What is it that they can do that will prepare them to have a healthy pregnancy and a healthy baby?
Absolutely, Nita. So I think that's really, the start, the base of the pyramid, where, just the thinking that, today now many people plan their pregnancy. So they do
Right.
want it to be a smooth pregnancy. And we realize that what we put in is what's going to be the output. It's as simple as that,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
So if you talk to me about, from the time you've decided that you want to plan a family,
Hmm.
it's that moment that we need to begin to take care of ourselves. So, today with so many lifestyle conditions and lifestyle disorders coming to view, we see little children suffering from various kinds of problems, and we wonder why is it that this child is having this concern, or the diabetes at a young age of 3 and 4. It
Hmm.
all goes back to this planning time.
Hmm.
It is very
Yeah.
important that we actually plan our pregnancy. So when we plan to conceive, it's important to make sure that the diet that you're following here is balanced. Now, if you've taken that step of planning a family, you are already becoming responsible for somebody else's life, right?
Absolutely.
So if we say now, before I conceive, or before I get pregnant, or before I have my baby, I'm going to indulge in all the stuff of junk and just enjoy myself, because then I won't be able to do it, we are not really thinking right? Because it's at this point that any kind of processed foods which are rich in trans fats, which are actually a major component of packaged foods today,
Hmm. Hmm.
it's something which is puts you at a very high risk and a high risk pregnancy.
Okay.
So while we decide to conceive, it's important to start following a balanced diet, and not really, get worried about the situation. I think the first thing is mentally prepare yourself, enjoy it, because
Hmm.
many of us say, oh, because I'm planning a family, I have to give up kind of a thing, you know so that brings on a very big tension factor in you. I think it's
True.
important to actually enjoy it. Say, okay, today out of 7 days I'm planning, I love the pani puri that I eat. So, okay, I'll eat that once. But the other 6 days I'm going to eat balance, because I have another big goal now in hand. So when we
Right.
begin to balance this, we start, you realize that folic acid plays a very important role in actually preparing the body, the uterus, for conception, right?
Hmm.
There may be various conditions like, PCOS, which may be troubling us as we are growing up as well. And
Hmm.
that becomes a question, Nita, that, many people have, that while I suffer from PCOS, will I really be able to conceive? So that's
Right.
where it begins, right?
Yes.
So to
Yes.
correct PCOS, we have a lot of lifestyle changes. We can bring in our yoga, we bring in a balanced diet, and we can get the symptoms of PCOS kind of settling down.
Okay.
You know, when
Okay.
that settles down, when you bring in more fruits and veggies, which are seasonal, watch
Hmm.
your hydration levels, take care of your stress factor, you
Hmm.
kind of preparing your body for conception.
Wonderful.
And
Wonderful.
that's where the diet begins, you know.
Most of us, I don't think we think like that. We start only after we are, once the mother is pregnant, and that's when she starts thinking about. But before is something that we don't really give enough thought to, and this is a very important point, I think.
So
Yes.
true,
Yes.
so
Thank
true.
you so much, Sonali. Yeah.
Not at all. And I love it, as we go through the session, I know, there would be so many questions coming up in the minds of our viewers. I would really urge them, take that step, take this opportunity to just put it forth. I am most willing to pick up any of these questions, anything that's a doubt in your mind. I want you
Hmm.
to leave with surety. That's all is what I'm really looking forward to. So would love
Awesome.
to do
Yes.
that going forward.
Great.
Perfect. Perfect.
G-
So,
Great.
Nita,
Yeah.
maybe
Hmm.
as we've looked at this part of conception where you're planning still, it's like you
Hmm.
take hold of your life here and take that first step. And then the good news comes, and you see the two little lines, and there
Yes.
begins a new journey forward.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
So maybe as we move into the nutrition in that phase, we need to realize that there's a lot happening mentally also, because you're preparing for this new phase. A lot of
Hmm.
expectation from you, apprehension. You get worried. Ki, am I doing right? And there's so much that can actually worry you here, right? So
Right.
the time we enter here, I think what's important is obviously connecting with your gynac, because at this time it's team effort that finally comes in, right? It's with you, your maybe your instructor of physical activity, your nutritionist, your gynecologist. They all are going to work as a team to help
Hmm.
you through the next 9 months,
Absolutely. Yes.
smoothly
Yes.
rather.
Right.
So that's the first thing that I think is important, to really connect with them.
Hmm.
And there we start seeing, because the moment you connect with your gynac, she puts you through a few tests that she probably requires, and then begins the supplementation. So I'm coming to that point where she brings in the nutritional supplements to support the pregnancy, right?
Okay.
And that's why the
Okay.
first 3 months become crucial. So when we as nutritionists look at a pregnancy, we also look at it as 3 trimesters. It's
Okay.
very, very mystical to understand that the nutritional requirements
Hmm.
actually become very prominent differently in the 3 trimesters. So if we look at
Okay.
the first trimester, we are looking at a lot of folic acid, like I said, or vitamin C, because the mom to be's body is kind of adjusting to the environment. So she is
Correct.
very prone to various kinds of infections. You
Okay.
know, that's
Mm-hmm.
the time vitamin C works as a protective agent to her.
Okay.
So bringing in the fruits, the especially right now when we are getting the citrus fruits and vegetables, that's
Hmm.
really really going to help bring in the immunity,
Hmm.
right? I'm so happy to see these questions coming in. So I see somebody who wants to say some special diet ideas which we have to keep in mind while we are trying to conceive. Okay, so I have to move back one step here. So
Yes.
we move
Yes.
back. The diet ideas here, I would suggest to pick in a lot of fiber in your diet. Make sure you are moving towards wholesome foods, right? Not foods which are processed. So anything which is very fried or oily is something that you need to avoid. You should avoid foods which have added sugar. Now, just because we are, um, there's this thing, Nita, that comes across. People say that, I'm planning to conceive and I have to lose weight. I've been told by my doctor if I want a healthy
Hmm.
pregnancy.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's summer season now. I'm not going to eat mangoes and I'm not going to do this. And, all of that stuff comes in.
Thumbs up.
But
Yes.
I noticed that in their tea, they've added their 1 to 2 teaspoons of sugar. So
Sugar.
I'm like, oh God, why don't we realize that added sugar is the culprit?
Hmm.
Mangoes, which are in season now, are very high in iron. They are very rich in
Hmm.
vitamin C, which I just said is important once you take that first step into pregnancy.
Hmm.
Moderation is the key. It's not that
Okay.
Sonali said mango is great, so now we're going to binge on it.
Binge on
The,
them.
yeah, she's given us that green signal about it. But what we need to realize is that when we have something which is a little higher in calorie, which natural calories, we use
Hmm.
it in moderation. That's about
Okay.
it. So
Okay.
picking mangoes would also be great. So coming to that question of conception, I think bringing in a lot of protein in the
Okay.
form of your dals and pulses if you're vegetarian, or your dairy if you are tolerant to it, right? Or your nuts and seeds. These are a
Hmm.
good way to begin or think about beginning a pregnancy. Keep your
Okay.
hydration levels up. Ensure
Hmm.
that there's sufficient fiber in your diet, and you're picking seasonal and locally available fruits and vegetables. So
Okay.
this would be the step there, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
then coming back to the point where we've conceived and we're looking at that part of it, we
Hmm.
need to make sure the moment the conception happens and there's a positive there, it's like, oh, I'm going to eat for two now. This is a misconception that comes for that. I have to eat double what I was eating now. I have to
Yeah.
tackle two. In fact, it's very surprising to know that in the first trimester, ideally, we do not even recommend an increase in the calorie intake per day. So the
Hmm.
first 3 months, you should be eating what you were already eating,
Normally eating. Okay.
but mindfully now.
Okay.
So the mindful factor comes in that, okay, if I was not very careful, if I was missing out on my dry fruits and fruits, that's something that I need to bring into place.
Hmm.
So that's how the first 3 months go,
Okay.
right? And
Okay.
uh, as we move into the second and the third trimester, in the second trimester, the various organs of the
Hmm.
baby are forming. You will
Hmm.
start feeling there's a lot of movement. There's the blood supply actually shoots up. So
Hmm.
at that time, we need to make sure that the hemoglobin levels are good. So iron-rich
Hmm.
foods is what
Hmm.
plays an important role. While
Okay.
you're nourishing the baby in your pregnancy, you are
Hmm.
also ensuring your body's nourishment to an optimum,
Right.
because
Okay. Hmm.
naturally it's such that the body is kind of it's nature's way that all nutrition that goes into you will kind of move towards the growing fetus.
Hmm.
So you
Okay.
need a backup, right?
Correct.
That's the
Yes.
time that the moms start to feel low in stamina. They start
Hmm.
feeling tired. They feel, I'm very sleepy throughout the day. There are very many new moms who feel that, right?
Yes.
And
That's
then
true.
comes
That's
the
true.
thing that what am I supposed to do? So I think
Hmm.
this is the time that you need to take care of the iron rich foods, bring that in, and also be mindful about the foods that you are okay or safe eating and you're not safe eating. Like, there's this
Okay.
question that has just come up about seafood, and it
Y-
is quite known. There are many people who say that during pregnancy we should not be consuming seafood.
Hmm.
The actual reason to this is that,
Hmm.
firstly,
Hmm.
seafood which is low in mercury is
Hmm.
permitted during pregnancy.
Okay.
Anything with water, generally, any water food, any
Hmm.
aquatic food, will invariably have mercury in them. And
Okay.
mercury is something that can be toxic to a growing fetus.
Okay.
So when we pick up seafood at this time, it's important we pick up the simple salmon, tuna, not going into the high mercury fish,
Okay.
during pregnancy. So
Okay.
there are
Okay.
different varieties. You stick to the simple freshwater fish, which do not have high levels of
So
mercury,
much.
and you can absolutely go ahead with that, right?
Okay.
And that's regarding the seafood. To answer the question which is up here, according to me, the foods that you need to avoid during pregnancy are those foods that can cause uterine contractions. The thing is that we want to maintain a pregnancy, right? So to maintain that pregnancy, we need to avoid certain foods which come under the category which create too much of heat in the body. They generate too much of heat in the body, or they can cause the uterus to contract.
Right.
So foods which come here are foods like pineapple, the fruits specifically. There is grapes are very well known to create uterine contractions.
Okay.
Chikus create problem, right?
Okay.
So these are
Papaya.
like, now when we come to papaya, the fact is that raw papaya basically has the enzyme which triggers contractions. But
Okay.
due to the worry or the concern that we have, we kind of even avoid the papaya fruit.
Correct. That's very true. The ripe papaya is also not eaten. I think that one thing
Absolutely.
that everybody says is papaya and cashews must khao.
Absolutely, absolutely. So
Yes.
cashews, yes, but none of us know that grapes are even higher in the risk factor. So when we are
Yes,
picking up that,
absolutely.
it's like it's worrisome because we are in the season when grapes are very easily available right now.
Mm,
You know,
correct.
so
Hmm.
like I told you, that papaya, it's the raw papaya which actually creates the
A
concern.
problem.
But
Okay.
I feel at this time it's very
Hmm.
difficult to fight against feelings in the family because
Hmm.
these are things that have already come in from
Hmm.
generations. It's being This information is kind of being passed on. So if a
Hmm.
new mom to be has to fight the ideas, with someone back home, it may become a little difficult for her to tackle
Difficult.
that situation.
Very
So I
true.
say that avoiding papaya is okay because we can pick up other fruits. It's not that
Right.
papaya is the only go-to food that I need during pregnancy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Right.
I think that's how it goes. And what about, and supplements here, talking about supplements, first of all, again, during pregnancy, eating a well-balanced diet, two
Hmm.
to three meals in a day. As I
Okay.
said, don't overdo it. Like, don't pick up bulky meals. Spread
Hmm.
it out because during pregnancy, there's a chance of you experiencing morning or evening sickness. When the gut feels a lot more bloated, there is a lot
Correct.
happening inside. And
Right.
sometimes you just don't feel like eating, right? On the
True.
other
True.
hand, there are those moms who really feel hungry every little while,
Few. Yes. Yes.
right?
Every couple of hours.
Now,
Yes.
absolutely. So, one, if they are not feeling hungry, they need to check their hydration levels, step that up, ensure they're drinking enough water.
Hmm.
Supplements that are taken during this time are generally suggested by your gynecologist, based on the blood test. Obviously, folic acid and calcium are something that do begin. But for
Right.
other supplements, it's always better to have your blood test done,
Hmm.
understand the vitamin and mineral profile before they actually supplement it. So
Okay.
ideally in the first trimester, not more than folic acid is supplemented, but
Hmm.
thereafter in second and third, vitamin D becomes a very large
Important. Hmm.
supplement, nutrition nutrient
Okay.
basically. Because
Okay.
what happens, Nita, is that vitamin D plays an important role not only currently in the growth of the baby and the bone
Hmm.
development, it
Hmm.
plays a very important role in postpartum period as well. That's post
Okay.
delivery.
Okay.
Because the postpartum depression or the postpartum blues that we hear about
Yes. A
are,
lot nowadays. Yes.
yes. So that's a lot connected to, we notice that if levels of vitamin D are low, there are
Hmm.
chances that the postpartum depression also becomes quite prominent.
Okay.
So, from second and third trimester, that's something that your doctor will look into, and maybe your
Okay.
nutritionist also. So it depends. Like I said, it's that team, support that you're going to look at. They will decide what will be the best for you and
Okay.
take you forward there. And post delivery, now that we see that, okay, this is during pregnancy, we've
Hmm.
moved into that stage where we've had either a natural delivery or a C-section delivery, right?
Right.
So
Right.
here comes a lot of questions again, that after, is there a difference in the way we tackle it, related to my diet? If it's
Okay.
been a natural delivery or if it's been a C-section, do I have to be careful about something? The
Hmm.
point
Hmm.
is that in a C-section delivery, what we generally do is, in India, I'm talking about, because here is where we pick up our, our panjiri and our dry fruit and all of those
Yes.
things, the
Yes.
laddus and all of that which
Yes.
comes into, play here.
Correct.
So
Correct.
what we do see is that it is important.
Hmm.
Taking all of these things plays a very, very vital role, not only in your lactation, but also in your own body's recovery.
Okay.
So you have gone through so much over 9 months. And like I said, it's nature's call where most of the nutrition is pulled towards the
Towards the
fetus,
baby. Okay. Yes.
right? So you need to
Right.
recover. So
Hmm.
there are new moms who kind of run away from these little dry fruits and the panjiri, just considering that I may gain too much of weight, and
Too
they're
much
all
weight.
worried about that.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I believe that if you take it in moderation,
Hmm.
in the limit that is required for at least the first 40 days.
Huh.
It will give you that backup to bounce back to your multitasking.
Right.
So that's one thing. Um, Coming to the question which says, what is the precaution as a mother of a newborn you need to take care?
Hmm.
As far as the diet is concerned, I would say eating easy to digest foods is of
Okay.
key importance here. After
Okay.
the 9 months, when everyone says, oh, finally I've delivered, everything is fine, I can just go back to normal, we need to realize that whatever you eat
Hmm.
affects your little one through lactation, specifically if you are breastfeeding. So here we need to take care that are we eating too much of spicy or too much of oily or difficult to digest foods, and we are noticing that the baby is suffering from colic,
Calling.
right?
Right.
So it's
Absolutely.
immediately a time to understand that you need to take care that you
Hmm.
do not go all out into outside food. For sure, I would say no. At
Hmm.
least for the first 3 months, when you are probably exclusively breastfeeding the baby. It depends on
Hmm.
how long you are doing that, but that's one
Huh.
caution you need to take,
Okay. Okay.
right? And you
Hmm.
also
Hmm.
stay well hydrated to get the whole process moving smoothly. So I
Okay.
think that's equally important.
We have a
Right.
very, very wonderful question here about a mother with diabetes. How can she plan her
Absolutely.
diet?
So here, Nita, once again, like I said, when we have diabetes, if it's gestational, if it's a diabetic, someone who's already been a diabetic and has conceived, it's a different, way of handling the whole situation. So I may
Hmm.
require more information. But for somebody who has probably developed gestational diabetes, right? That is
Hmm.
diabetes during pregnancy.
During pregnancy. Hmm.
The most important thing is stay away from your added sugars.
Okay.
So even when they make the panjiri, coming to the practical point of making the laddus, you can
Hmm. Hmm.
always use your dates and your raisins to sweeten that rather
Sweeten.
than
Yes.
picking up the added sugar,
Right.
right?
Correct. Correct.
Also space out the meals, in a balanced way without overdoing it.
Hmm.
So do not run away from the fruits. The moment you're diabetic, you get worried that I cannot eat fruit. But
Fruits.
we need
Yes.
to realize that that carries a lot of vitamin and minerals.
Okay.
So we can, once it's a new mom, you can pick up, like, that phobia of not having papaya during pregnancy can go away, because post delivery, there are chances that you may experience constipation. So you can take papaya even if
Hmm.
you're a diabetic mom,
Right.
right?
Okay.
So
Wonderful.
that
Okay.
becomes safer for you. You can take
Yes.
apple, you can pick up your dry fruit. If you want to keep your sugar levels under control, you need to ensure that your protein intake is optimum. So if
Okay.
the protein intake in your diet is optimum, the
Hmm.
chances of your blood sugar levels staying under control will be way, way better.
Okay. Okay. This is very, very useful information, I think, for all moms. I think, because I think, what happens is, yes, apart from even the moms who have diabetes, आई थिंक घर पे सबको बोला जाता है मीठा मतलब एवरीथिंग दैट दे गिव फॉर पीपल हु आर प्रेग्नेंट और
Meter.
पोस्टपार्टम कुछ तो मतलब गुड़ तो भर भर के होता है उसमें राइट घी एंड गुड़ इज सो
Yes.
मच सो आई गेस upping your protein is definitely key then. Okay.
For sure, Nita, because
Yes.
the fact is that sugar and fat are interconvertible in the body. So even if you've had excess fat, like the extra
Mm-hmm.
ghee and everything, that's going to invariably convert into sugar in the body. So that's going to
Okay.
be dangerous again with the blood sugar levels if you're diabetic.
Okay. Okay.
You know,
Wonderful.
so
Okay. Great
yeah, so
information. I think very, very useful and practical information this is.
great. That's wonderful. Great. For
Now people are
children,
moving on to their children's diets.
yes, that's interesting, because I think that's the toughest thing when they have their junk, right? And it's like, how are you going to stop this? But
Yeah.
here, Nita, I believe the practices that we bring in from childhood play an important role, firstly. So while I jump
Hmm.
to teenagers, I feel just quickly giving you a tip that when you are feeding,
Hmm.
kids who are younger in age,
Hmm.
start developing healthier eating habits with them right from that age. Unless we don't introduce it to them, how do you manage it? Right?
Look, there's
So
already a question
there's a question
that's
here, healthy
related.
food habit. When you realize that you are not used to eating healthy food, you probably are also experiencing certain concerns.
Hmm.
And we as mothers may neglect ourselves, but we want the best for our child. So when we want
Always.
the best there, like I have a very successful practice that I've seen with little children since I work with them as well.
Hmm.
I tell them that, whatever sweets and chocolates, it's very easy to pick up a toffee or sweet chocolate throughout the week, and it's very difficult for them to control on it because that's something they're fond of, right? So I tell them
Very,
to get this
very.
fancy jar and keep filling in their chocolates from wherever they receive. And
Huh.
over the weekend, on a Saturday or Sunday, they allow themselves to pick one or two from the jar. So
Okay.
through the week, instead of having eaten 10 or 14, they've probably taken two or three of
Two.
these candies over the weekend. you know but it's important to inculcate. We get a little scared to tell our children, we are like, no, they're not going to accept it, and we kind of already preconceive their answers in our mind you know
True.
but
True.
always
True.
try.
True.
Always try. I think that really helps. So if I mean, for a 7-year old, making a burger at home, if you are also fond of it, you can make a nice juicy burger at home. In your cutlet, instead of just putting in potato, add in a little sweet potato, which is also very, very nutritious. You can add in
Hmm.
some nicely steamed sprouts, which all mash into a cutlet. You don't need to
Correct.
see what's in that, right?
Wonderful.
And just,
Yes.
you know
Absolutely.
and in fact, these are the kind of recipes, healthy recipes, that we've put up on the app as well, even for children. So for
Okay.
getting a 7-year-old to eat also, we have something like a healthy pav bhaji, and we have a lot of other stuff which is a lot more healthier than the regular. you know very
Wonderful.
little switches, very tiny switches, which are not overwhelming to you, can actually make it a healthy choice.
Lovely. Lovely. You're making things easier for moms. I think all moms are going to be very grateful. Very, very grateful. Okay. Somebody's asking if eating beetroot actually does really help to boost iron and hemoglobin.
Absolutely, absolutely. Beetroot is excellent, but here with iron, I would love to tell you that while you eat your beetroot, just
Hmm.
squeeze a little lemon juice on it, because vitamin C helps in iron absorption. So the
Okay.
food may be rich in iron, but it may not get well absorbed into the body if the vitamin C is not sufficient. So just step
Hmm.
that up as a combination, and you've got excellent iron up food.
Okay. Wonderful.
Okay. All right. Unhealthy craving during pregnancy, like junk food, fried food, and caffeine. Right. So here, what we need to understand is, if there's a craving, one, if it if it's satisfied with moderation, like, taking, like I mentioned, taking a plate of pani puri sometimes, or taking something, that's okay. But if the craving is overwhelming and you're realizing it's not coming under control, I would suggest that you check up with your gynec and get a blood test done, because there could be a deficiency which is kind of exhibiting in the form of a craving. Now,
Okay.
we cannot, taking a cup or two of caffeine, like ideally about a 150 to 200 mg of caffeine in a day, which is about 2 cups of tea or coffee or green tea, is safe even during pregnancy. But
Okay.
like you say, if there's a craving and you're not able to control it, it's important to check in case you're deficient in magnesium or zinc or something which is going down and which is actually exhibiting this craving for you. And we'll need to address the root cause rather than permitting you that third or fourth cup of coffee, you know?
Okay.
So,
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is a very good tip because if the craving is too strong, that means there is something to look into, right?
look into.
Okay.
Don't neglect it.
Okay.
Don't think, many of us say it's pregnancy, so ठीक very nice, we can have a lot of it. Achar khane ka man hai, this hai. Those are things that may happen, but let's not give that the reason, knowing that today's lifestyle disorders, time today is very different from what it was earlier,
From correct. Very true.
right?
Very true.
Whether in
Yes.
quality of food or in the quality of life we are leading. So we are trying to take into consideration what's happening today.
Hmm.
That's
Absolutely.
about it, right?
Right. Right.
Perfect.
There's
So
another question here from a breastfeeding mother. How should she take care of herself?
absolutely. So, first of all, when we are breastfeeding, we must realize that a lot of supplements and nutritional supplements which are given during pregnancy are also continued for the first 6 months post delivery, right? Because in breast milk, you tend to lose a lot of your vitamins and minerals. So that's one thing that you need to take care of, that if you were taking calcium, after you speak to your gynecologist or your nutritionist, please continue taking those supplements as required. The second thing is that when you're taking care of yourself as breastfeeding, like I said, protein is going to be of prime importance, right? Because you need the
Okay.
stamina, you need to be able to withstand the sleeplessness, because if you're breastfeeding, there are chances that you're not sleeping well, you're going
Sleeping
to
well.
be up through the night or whatever, so which means you need to have something with you all the while. For
Hmm.
breastfeeding moms who wake up at night to feed their babies as well, I feel keeping things like roasted makhanas or some roasted almonds, sunflower seeds are good options to be on your bedside even when you wake up to feed the child, right? You should
Okay.
not be hungry,
Okay.
you should not think that, oh, I have to have only breakfast, lunch, dinner, I cannot eat in between. That's not how it goes. You may need to pick up, always hydrate yourself before you feed your baby.
Yes. This
Take
is
a glass
yes.
of milk or a glass of water, before you actually feed the baby. So
Okay.
also for the lactation, since we're talking about breastfeeding, I would also tell you that foods like makhana that I mentioned,
Hmm.
jeera, foods
Hmm.
like methi dana are known
Hmm.
to actually improve lactation. So if
Hmm.
you have
Hmm.
a concern there, you can also uh, put these foods in to step up your milk supply, right?
Okay. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
That's wonderful. Also, there is another question here, but before we get to that question, I have a question.
Yeah,
A mother who's breastfeeding, who's basically she's a new mother,
yes,
um, and I think her mental health also needs a lot of taking care of.
absolutely,
And what diet
absolutely.
is there? Is the diet going to affect that? Can we also talk about that?
Absolutely. Yes, Nita. So when I went back, I'm just going back to the time when we talked of pregnancy diet, right? When I spoke about the fact of putting in foods which are like the vitamin D, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Vitamin D and omega 3 play a
Okay.
very important role in the mental health, right? Which protects you from the postpartum depression. Like I said, even though you're happy, you don't know why you're crying.
Yes.
you know it's like
Yes.
that, everything seems a little overwhelming, you're
Hmm.
adjusting, you want the best for your little one, but you have to multitask and probably go back to work or to your housework. So when all of that comes into play, omega 3 plays a very important
Hmm.
role. Now,
Okay.
natural sources, when we talk of, that's why we talk about, if you're a seafood eater, the safe seafoods like fish, low in
Hmm.
mercury are great to go for the omega 3. If we are
Okay.
vegetarian, we invariably introduce walnuts, flax seeds, olives. These are foods which are good in omega 3 as well.
Okay.
All your
Okay.
seeds, your sunflower, pumpkin seeds are great sources of omega 3, the good fat.
Okay.
So when we put the good fat in, even after delivery, by chance you have not taken this earlier, even
Hmm.
at this stage after delivery, if you're noticing that mentally you're feeling exhausted or emotionally feeling drained down, please check if you are taking your vitamin D supplement or not. If you're a
Okay.
non-vegetarian, you can pick up your omega-3 supplement, your sea cod or your cod liver oil capsules. And if you're a
Absolutely.
vegetarian, take your flaxseed, walnuts, other seeds to up your omega-3 levels, because that is very closely related to your mental status at this time.
So it's vitamin D and omega 3. These two are vital for.
These two are of vital importance, when
Okay.
we're talking about mental health
Mental health.
post delivery. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. So now we can take this question.
Yes.
My
Yes.
baby is 7 months old. Can you tell me what I should start feeding him now?
Absolutely. So if you have been exclusively breastfeeding and now introducing the baby, to top feed, we always
Hmm.
begin again with the age old, easy to digest foods like,
Hmm.
your rice
Hmm.
water, then maybe a moong dal water, then the
Hmm.
combination of the two. Go into
Hmm.
fruits like papaya, stewed apple. If you are
Hmm.
planning to introduce milk, it could be, see, today we need to understand that cow milk allergy, right, is very, very common. It leads to a lot of bloating in many children. So maybe the
Hmm.
milk that you are using at your home can be introduced, or the formula milk, based on what your pediatrician will suggest thereafter,
Okay.
right? So that could be, as far as the normal foods are concerned, by 7 months, I always suggest that introduce one or two items a week. Do not over, stuff the baby's diet in the beginning.
Hmm.
Be comfortable, let the baby respond well, and then keep introducing one new item at a time, so that by age 11 or 12 months, your
Hmm.
baby is eating what is made at home.
Okay.
So it
Okay.
just goes that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So one new item a week is a good idea, huh?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
One,
Okay.
maximum two, not more than that. So that you know the
Okay.
response, right, of the baby's body to it. And
Okay.
that's how it goes.
Okay. Nice. Okay.
Yes,
Here's a question.
yes.
So
I just
Suman is
saw
saying
that.
she's put on a lot of weight. Yes.
Yes. Okay, the good news is here that if you're feeding your baby, one, you must know that lactation itself is a process of weight reduction. Okay, so when
Okay.
you are feeding your baby, I think the
Hmm.
prime importance of a mother here is, while she ensures to get a
Hmm.
balanced diet,
Hmm. Hmm.
she focuses on the lactation factor. The
Okay.
calorie deficit diet, which will bring down your weight, can
Hmm.
always be picked up 6 months after,
After.
delivery, when you have actually begun to wean the baby
Wean.
off
Right.
and you
Okay.
have more time for yourself. That does
Hmm.
not mean I'm saying indulge in any food. What I mean to
Hmm.
say is start eating mindfully, so that the weight loss happens at a hidden level. It's not your
Okay.
prime focus. It will happen. If you are
Hmm.
lactating and feeding, it uses a lot. It's a high energy dense activity actually.
Okay.
So you are going to start bringing down your weight simultaneously, but
Right.
don't,
I
I
agree.
think you shouldn't worry about that at this moment.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So not to worry. Not to worry. Just go on and do what you're doing. Think
Yes.
about cutting down your weight 6 months later. By then you'll
Yes.
already have lost some,
Yes.
right?
But eat
Wonderful.
balanced right now. Eat very mindfully right now. Don't go into your sweets and desserts and fried, and that itself will help you come down, the way you want to and the way you need
Okay.
to.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Here's now a question. What nutrients will add to the diet of teenage girl who
Teenage.
has just started menstruating?
Absolutely. So here, once again, what I say
Hmm.
is very important is the vitamin D, because that's going to
Hmm.
also play on the mental health. It's a very big transition for them, right? They need
Yes.
to adjust to a lot of social norms here. So make sure, and with the, periods comes the other symptoms, whether
Hmm.
it's the acne and the
Yes.
hair fall
All of it.
and the
Yes.
weight gain. I think those are more of the concerns than anything else. So at this point, it's important to ensure the diet is balanced, giving at
Hmm.
least 2 to 3 servings of seasonal fruit and vegetable in the diet. Encourage
Okay.
your daughter to have a bowl of salad regularly, to pick up curd regularly, because when we have a hormonal switch, whenever we go
Hmm.
through a hormonal switch, there's a tendency for the gut bacteria to get
Hmm.
very, very dirty, to become more,
Okay.
to have a higher proportion of bad bacteria than good. So bringing in
Okay.
curd on a regular basis, which is an excellent probiotic, will
Hmm.
keep the gut clean, and
Okay.
there is a very strong connection between your gut and brain. It's
Huh.
called the gut
Okay.
brain barrier. So if
Huh.
your stomach is clean, your brain is going to also be calm and work to its better potential. So for a
Okay.
teenager, I think one would be first getting her mentally prepared by giving her this food.
Hmm.
Secondly, ensure that she's getting sufficient iron in her diet. The iron and
Okay.
protein factor, because these two will make the hemoglobin, right? So if you need to make sure, otherwise she may start becoming pale or having the cramps or the pains during periods. So to
Hmm.
ensure that that doesn't happen, it's important to take care of the iron intake as well.
Hmm. Okay. So I guess even in as a teenager, a girl also needs to look after all of that, and not just as women as we are adults, but even as teenagers, we need to look after all of that.
Absolutely. It's such a cycle. It's just a complete cycle for us. There's no
What about
escaping
our
here.
boys? What about our boys, Sonali? I mean,
Oh,
because they are so active and they're so
totally.
because they are. I mean, they play a lot more active games than the
Absolutely.
girls do.
Then
Because the
girls
girls may even
probably.
sit down and chat and play, games that are a little more feminine. But the boys are leading very active life. So, is there anything we can do to help them?
Yes.
Yes.
So in
Okay.
fact, like we talk of teenage girls, and I spoke of probably, your iron content over here in the
Hmm.
diet, I would probably
Hmm.
look at a very high protein and calcium backup for the boys, because they have a
Okay.
growth spurt a little later. So you will invariably notice that during teenage time, your boys may be a little smaller built when compared to the girls. The girls will grow faster, but the
Okay.
boys will show their spurt a few years later. And if they do
Okay.
not have a good nutrition backup of these
Hmm.
teenage years,
Hmm.
they may have problem with height gain, etc., which will be a
Okay.
problem. So
Okay.
we have to ensure that the kids right from 10, 11, your boys too, are getting
Hmm.
a good quantity and a good amount of high quality protein and calcium in the diet.
Okay.
So when you ensure that that's happening even at the age of 10 or 11, by the time they
Hmm.
touch that 16, 17 spurt, they have a good bank balance to
Hmm.
actually gain what they need, whether it's their muscle growth or their height, they're able to
Ah.
shoot up back then.
Okay.
So that's the difference we play with boys. That's how it goes.
Okay, okay. So basically what that says is, yes, we can have a little of everything, but mindfully, whether you're a child or an adult, mindfulness when you're eating is very important, right? Make sure you're
Absolutely.
getting the right nutrients first.
Yes. And
And then you
enjoy
can
it. I
add in a
think the
little bit of the fun, right?
Yes, that's exactly what I said. So when we put in the fun, it's no sense of eating a pizza and worrying all the time that, oh, I've eaten the pizza and tomorrow I'm going to gain weight.
Yeah,
I think
correct.
when we enjoy our pizza, let's enjoy it, right?
Absolutely.
But
That
when
takes the
we
guilt off it. Thank you, Sonali.
absolutely, when you know you've had a very healthy breakfast and you're enjoying a dinner of pizza, then it's okay. Absolutely
Absolutely.
works. So I think it's balance is
Wonderful.
the entire game. It's never that it's no, it's like that phobia. Oh, I cannot. It's not about I can't, because I I always feel that diet does not mean starvation. Actually, diet implies eating right.
Okay.
Simple. That's diet.
Okay, so I think that's one thing that we all need to change, the definition and the concept that we have in our head about dieting.
So
That, as soon as we think of diet, we do think of starving. That's very true. That we're going to cut down on everything. But that's not necessarily true. You're just cutting down on some of the things that's not useful and adding in stuff that's useful also.
so
Yeah,
true.
lovely, lovely.
Absolutely
This
right.
is
I
so
think
important.
that's most important. And when you feel that it's a healthy switch. So it's
Great.
absolutely
Yes,
fine.
yes, yes, yes. I think people are coming back with a lot of
Yes.
appreciation here because I think
Absolutely.
you've given so much value today, so much value that
I'm
I
so
mean we
glad
can't help but
I'm so
and
happy having been here.
yes, yes, and this group is all full of mothers, so their main concern is of course their children, but I think what you've also told them today is look after yourselves also.
Absolutely. The
It's
first
very
thing, otherwise,
important.
you won't be able
Yes,
to be the role model for your child, right? You need to be not only there for your child, but also you need to be that role model. If the child
absolutely.
sees you that way, believe me, you are super successful as a mom then.
Wonderful. I think this is I think so key because I think we all want our children to look up to us as role models, but I mean, that
Yeah,
happens sometimes and it doesn't, and they do actually. Whether it's a positive role model or not is something that we need to really
right.
be mindful about. So let's
So
all
true.
include the health in our diet, right? And let's
Absolutely.
all do this in a way that is fun for us too. It need not be boring food. It need not be yucky food. It can be
Not at
healthy
all.
and tasty. It can be healthy and fun, right? This
Absolutely.
is this is amazing. I'm so glad. And people, I think here what is important to note is that Sonali is coming here and giving us all this information and also telling us that this is available on the app.
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
all
And
of
it's
this.
all there for, we just want you all to benefit out of it and realize that actually diet is not boring. It's not. It's just being healthy, and that's how you're going to be happy, because that's sustainability.
Wonderful. Yes, sustainable is important, right? Even I've noticed this, that you start a fad and then you can't
It
keep
doesn't
going.
go on long.
You're going
You're
to drop it
tired.
as soon as, yes, absolutely. It's
Absolutely.
not something you can sustain. So
No,
sustainable
and
diet.
absolutely, Nita. Just to close, I think most of these fat diets do lack one or the other micro or macronutrient, which
Mm,
invariably, like, you begin a fat diet probably to lose weight, but with the end of 6 months, you realize you've lost so much of hair as well, and you have something
absolutely.
new to tackle, or you
Yes.
started looking very aged
Haggard.
or
Yes.
haggard,
Yes. Yes.
and
Yes.
then you move into picking up your collagen supplements, whereas
Hmm.
you have all of that available, in your food. You have the highest levels of collagen in your food, and
Food.
rather than
Okay.
mindfully picking that up, you just pick up products. That's how it goes. So
Yes.
I think it's very important to eat mindfully and enjoy, create a very, very positive rapport with your food, because I think that's what your life is about. Because if you
So
eat well, you're going to reflect well and do your best in whatever you do in life.
absolute. Absolutely. Agreed. Agreed. So eating well is important. Sonali, I think people are still asking questions. Can we just take one more? Um,
Absolutely.
so Anjul is saying, can you give us tips for a child who's eighth, ninth grade and how to increase height? Anjul, I hope we have understood your question correctly.
Yes,
Yes.
I think it's basically about the protein. She wants to know how the height can be gained at this time. And like I
Yes.
said, if it's
Yes.
a girl, they may gain it, just before their puberty. But post, if you're talking about boys, it may take a few, it may be around 15 or 16, when they are maybe in ninth or 10th grade, rather than the eighth and ninth grade, that you will see the height shoot up. Give them their
Hmm.
space. Don't worry about it. Ensure
Okay.
that they are taking good amount of protein
Hmm.
in the diet, good quality protein. It does not mean you
Okay.
over stuff the protein. Ensure that
Hmm.
there's something protein in each meal.
Hmm.
Make sure there is very good hydration level, because when you give a lot of protein, you're loading the kidneys. The kids
Okay.
kidneys are going to be tough to work otherwise, so you need a constant flushing out, enough of
Okay.
water going in,
Hmm.
making sure that there's good calcium going in the diet. So whether
Okay.
it's through dairy, or it's, there are kids who are lactose intolerant, so we can step up the curd there. We can give them a double serving or a triple serving of curd, which will also
Okay.
keep the gut light. So ensuring
Okay.
that protein and hydration and calcium is
Hmm.
all going in together, along with vitamin D, is
Hmm.
something that will help even for the height.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So
Increase
protein seems to
active.
be it seems to be a recurring
Yes.
thing that you've been saying. Protein is important.
Actually, what happens is invariably we miss out on it, because our Indian diets are so much of like roti, sabzi, paratha. The protein factor is taking a very small,
Hmm.
very small room in our diet. But we need
Hmm.
to realize that our normal food has protein.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
even when we go into whey protein, people look for products which are ready in the market, or powders. We just
Yes.
need to know that if we make paneer at home with our milk, with normal milk, what is available, and you
Hmm.
curdle it with curd, right?
Hmm.
The
Okay.
paneer that you get and the water that is saved, that whey water
Hmm.
is the highest
Hmm.
protein.
Okay.
So we don't discard that whey water. We add it to make the rotis, or we put it into the dal. It's
Okay.
camouflaged, and
Okay.
you just step up the protein.
Wonderful.
It's
So
those
simple
small.
tips that will up your protein. Wonderful. This is really
Absolutely.
good. Yes.
So I
Okay. So
think that's
Namrata saying, yes, yes. I'm so sorry.
no,
Namrata
no.
saying her child has a poor appetite. What can she do about that?
Namrita, first of all, I would need to probably know your child's age. That is important.
I
Um,
think I know Namrata and her child is quite young. I think six, maybe 6 years or so.
6. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
one we need to understand is if from the beginning the child has a low appetite,
Hmm.
probably it's a good idea to check with your pediatrician if the child
Hmm.
needs to get a deworming course done, because
Hmm.
sometimes there could be a disturbed gut bacteria, like I said, which is not allowing hunger or appetite to surface.
Hmm.
So that's one thing that can be checked. And in case you've
Okay.
already done, because deworming is usually done every 6 months, so
Hmm.
it's important to do that. And if not,
Okay.
if the child is a little fussy, check if maybe the iron levels are low, or if there is
Hmm.
any kind of nutritional deficiency once again, which
Hmm.
could be leading to a low appetite, or
Okay.
maybe the food is not palatable. I mean,
Okay.
not that I'm pinpointing anywhere, but what I feel is just look the various areas before deciding that the child has a low appetite. is
Okay.
it is it boring? Is it that the child is eating certain things and not eating certain things?
Okay.
Then you can
Okay.
automatically understand about the kid thereafter.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful.
Okay, there's something about the
Great.
lactation that's come in, Nita.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Yes.
just to quickly summarize, I think, like I mentioned earlier, there are a lot
Hmm.
of foods which are called galactagogues, which are foods which actually enhance milk supply. Makhanas are Indian normal fox nuts roasted in a
Hmm.
little bit of ghee, little bit of
Hmm.
salt, pepper, and jeera powder works as an excellent addition. Methi
Hmm. Hmm.
dana, which has been soaked overnight, a water, a glass of water which is infused with methi dana also helps very well.
Okay. Okay.
We also use normal jeera
Okay.
powder, which is powdered and kept. Apart from what you add to the cooking, just sprinkle it on top of the food that you're eating.
Okay.
So these
Okay.
things can enhance milk supply as well.
What about Shatavari? They say Shatavari is very good.
Absolutely,
What
absolutely.
is
So we are using
Shatavari also
shatavari.
known as? Is
Yes,
Shatavari
it is a
asparagus?
galactic.
It,
Absolutely
ab-
can be used. So
okay.
either there are people who are using direct, or we are also introducing maybe the capsules if required. So
Okay.
shatavari can be put in. It works very well. Moderation is the key. Please do not go overboard. Don't think that
Okay.
shatavari is going to help me, so I think I'm going to take milk thrice in a day and take shatavari thrice in a day. It's going to
Hmm.
create severe heat in the body. It'll
Hmm.
end
Hmm.
up with some other problems, and I don't want that to happen with anybody.
Okay.
Most
Okay.
welcome, Anjul. I'm so happy that it helped you.
So yes,
Thank you.
so I think yeah, we are having a lot of. I think people are really happy with all the information you've really. I mean, you've really given loads of information today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's time
Pleasure
for
is
us
my
to close. It's almost 12 o'clock. So
yes.
what I'm going to close with, Sonali, today is that you know it's not just it's not that you need medicine to get to a healthy place. Your normal food has everything that you need. As long as you're mindful about eating the right foods and the healthy foods, I think you're sorted, right? I think
Absolutely.
yeah, you
I
can
think
just add
that's
to
it.
that. Yes,
Absolutely. So I think that's absolutely true, Nita, that don't get overwhelmed with food. There's so much of information out there that you say, oh, this is going to help, or that is. Believe me, what's in your kitchen will help as long as you take it consistently. The point is
wonderful.
consistency. We take it for a few days and we say, no, it's not helping me, and we just let go. It needs time to work, right?
Okay.
And just enjoy your food, and you will have excellent output in whatever you do, and you'll be a happy mom too.
Awesome, awesome. This sounds really good.
You.
So, you know what? Questions are still pouring in, but we can't now take them because we are coming to the end of our time. Maybe Sonali can see, the comments later and answer a few questions.
Sure.
And also, all of this information will be available with consultants on the app,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Wonderful.
So
So
basically, what
moms,
happens
please
is,
note. Yeah.
yes. So the information is there. I think I would, ask everybody to join the community section on the app, like you mentioned earlier, Nita,
Hmm.
because all queries, we have our nutritionists there, and they will be
Okay.
more than happy to address any concerns that you all have or any worries. So we're all there,
Lovely.
Shravan.
Lovely. This is such a lovely thing because, for moms,
Yes,
if there is so much information available on that app right there, I think it's a lovely thing. Everybody, please note there is a link that has been put in the comments. Find that link, join the app, and you will get every information that you need as a mother, or even if you're not a mother, for your children or for anybody in your family. All kinds of information is available on the app. Please go ahead and join. Yes,
absolutely.
and we look forward to doing more of these talks with you. With
Pleasure.
yes.
It was lovely. I mean, it was wonderful being here. Thank you so much for having us here.
Thank you so much for coming and giving our mothers so much information. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Good day to all
Bye.
of you. Bye bye.
Good day. Bye.